This is a topic I have been hot on for a long time. Do you remember, Joe, when we were recording in the other studio in Palm City when I used to live over there? You remember we did this show on AFFH, Obama's War on the Suburbs and the Obama administration?
Oh,
where they were
yes.
Remember that
Yes,
show?
we did a few of them.
We did a few. That's right.
We were heavy on it.
We did like a whole week of them, as a matter of fact.
That's right. Mhm.
You may say to yourself, AFFH, affirmatively furthering fair housing. What the heck is that? I haven't heard. It can't be important. I haven't heard anything about it on the nightly news. I'm bringing this up today again. The show is about contrast. The GOP needs to set it up. We don't believe in higher taxes because they suck. Higher taxes don't do anything for the economy. The GOP also needs to come out tomorrow and say, we're going to defend the suburbs because free American people decided to live there, save their whole lives to buy homes there, and they don't want the government coming in and wrecking the whole damn thing because of some political agenda. Well, that's what's happening right now. Check out this piece at National Review. If you haven't heard about AFFH, please perk up now, because if you have a home in the suburbs, this is going to be the most important thing happening to you. Your taxes may go up, but wait till you see your neighborhoods being dominated by government at the federal level, your local government wiped out nearly completely in decision-making authority about what gets built where. Stanley Kurtz, who's been on this topic forever, read this piece at the show notes, please. Please. Bongino.com/newsletter. Biden and the Dems are set to abolish the suburbs. What is this about? Funny. Sometimes I leave little notes for myself. Pay very close attention to this. That's a note for me, not for you. But you need to pay very close attention to this too.
It's important. Yeah.
It's important.
There we go.
It's on a t-shirt. It's important. Folks, the Democrats a long time ago in some of these major cities, they were running out of tax money to support their liberal democratic causes. So what they did, and this is in the Stanley Kurtz article with references if you'd like to read it. In the interest of time, I'm going to abbreviate it. What they did in the past, some of these Democrat-run cities, is because they were running out of tax revenue, because they ran all the businesses out of their town, is they just basically annexed the suburbs. They just made it part of the city. Suburbs were like, what? City, we're just going to expand. Well, what did that do, Joe? It enabled upper middle class suburbanites, or I should say, annex their ability to pay taxes somewhere. And now they were paying taxes to the city because they were now city residents, whether they liked it or not. Well, when a lot of suburbanites caught wind of that, they cut that out. There were some illegalities and problems with it. They cut that out. But the Democrats never gave up. And again, the history of it's in the piece. I encourage you to read it. He has a book out too about it. The Democrats never gave up on their desire to annex the suburbs. Now, this is for a number of reasons. They want it. They want to own it. They want to run it. Couple of reasons. Number one, I just told you reason number one are the taxes. Suburbanites save up their whole lives. You buy a house with your picket fence. You probably have a little bit of money. If you have a little bit of money and they can tax your income, the cities want to tax it. But I don't live in the city. That's okay. We'll just say you live in the city. Problem solved, right? They want your money. That's number one, the reason they want to dissolve the suburbs and make sure they're part and parcel of a bigger city. Number two, it's to appease environmentalists. Environmentalists will tell you the world is collapsing tomorrow. I'm hoping to get to this. This environmentalist had a big change of heart, this prominent environmentalist in a Breitbart piece. It was in the show notes yesterday. I hope I can get to it later. But to appease environmentalists that don't like the suburbs, why? Because they hate the automobile, they hate commuting, and they think the world is collapsing tomorrow because the automobile has emissions from the tailpipe. So if we can wipe out the suburbs or make people not want to live there, we can move them back in the city, stuff them into trains and subways and buses. Problem solved. One, they want your money. Two, they want you out of your car. Three is important too. The third reason the Democrats hate the suburbs, and Joe Biden will commit to making the suburbs disappear as you know them. The Democrats don't like the fact that they have a number of wasted votes right now. What do I mean by that? Their votes are not diluted. It's the reason the president won. I mean, he lost the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College. And one of the reasons that you see it in congressional races and you see it in the presidential race as well with the Electoral College is Democrats tend to live together and vote in enormous numbers in very closely dense pockets of areas and pockets of the country. It leads to a lot of what they call in political electoral dynamics wasted votes. Because there's so many Democrats in such a small space in Manhattan. The congressional districts get divvied up, but there's almost no way to gerrymander it effectively. It's actually gerrymander, but gerrymander because then I get a million emails about it. There's no way to effectively gerrymander it. Why? Because if you have Democrats in an apartment building in Central Park West and 95% of the residents of that building are Democrat voters, say there's 500 residents, you can't gerrymander the building. Top floors are going to vote in Congressional District 6, bottom floors in Congressional District 2. You can't do it. It's hard to divvy up a block in Manhattan. If there's 12,000 residents on a block in Manhattan and 90% of them are Democrats, it's really hard to cut the block in half. Where are you going to stick the other block? Because the next block over, Joe, are Democrats too.
Right.
So you wind up getting congressional districts in Manhattan and where Joe lives in Maryland. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Montgomery County, all Democrats. There's no way to divvy it up. They tried. They're doing their best. They stuck a lot of them in Congressional District 6 where I ran, but there's no way to divvy it up even better and get more Democrat districts because they're all coalesced in one spot. They're not diluted. You'll win congressional seats in Manhattan 85-15. 85% for the Democrat, maybe 15% of the residents of Manhattan in the congressional district will vote Republican. What's the problem there? You just wasted 35% of the vote. Well, 34, because you only needed 51% to win. Wouldn't it be more effective, Joe, if we could get some of those city-dwelling Democrats to roll out into the suburbs and vote there instead, where the Republicans are much more diluted? Republicans win seats 55-45, 51-49, because they've spread themselves out around the country. It's the same reason we still are effective in Congress, can be, in election wins sometimes. We had the majority for a while. And we still win elections with the Electoral College because we're more spread out. We don't waste votes. You may say, oh, we want to win in overwhelming fashion. No, we don't. We want to win 52-48, 53-47, because it means our voters are spread out more tactically and strategically. We don't want to win 90-10. You just wasted 40% of the vote. What's the point? You still won. They want these voters out in the suburbs, but what's the problem? The problem is a lot of city-dwelling residents, some of them in lower-income cities, don't have the money to move into the suburbs. Oh, we got a fix for that. So they want your money. They definitely want you out of your car, and they want your votes diluted now too. Big time. So how do you get city people, city folks, city residents, some who can't afford homes in the suburbs? I was a city kid, so no one's going to lecture me about it. I saved up my whole life for my first house in Severna Park, Maryland. I was a city kid. So was Paula. So please, libs watching, spare your lectures. Take it to someone who cares, because it's not me. I've been there. I lived it. You didn't. You probably live in your mommy's basement roasting s'mores with your Snuggie right now. So I'll take a hard pass on your advice. How do you get city dwellers out to the burbs? Let's go to screenshot number 1 from this terrific National Review piece. Because, Joe, they can't annex the suburbs anymore legally, they have a de facto rather than de jure annexation strategy. And it has 3 parts to take over the suburbs you live in. By the way, here's the Biden plan. I'm reading this off to you. They're going to use a kind of quota system to force economic integration in the suburbs, pushing urban residents outside of the city. You know what? Can we go through these one by one? Can you come back to me? Because it'd be simpler that way. Piece number 1 of the upcoming Biden plan. I'm not messing with you. This is the Biden plan. This is the Biden-Cory Booker plan. What they're going to do, this is very clever. You got a house in the burbs, listen up. They're going to say, what's the racial makeup of your area? Well, that seems like you guys are a bunch of racists over there. There's not enough Hispanic residents, not enough Black residents, not enough Asian residents. So what we're going to do is we're going to condition federal money, HUD grants, highway grants, things a lot of these municipalities need to fix their roads and things. We're going to condition that on the fact that you work on that racial makeup of your town. Keep in mind, It is illegal to discriminate in housing right now. You understand that, right? It's illegal. You cannot refuse to sell a home to anyone because they're Hispanic or black. It's illegal. Anyone who feels they're discriminated against can and should sue if it happened. Absolutely. That's not what this says. They just say if enough Hispanic or black residents don't want to move into your neighborhood, we'll fix that for you. Don't worry about it. They're not alleging anybody's a racist. They're just saying, we're going to say you're racist because we don't have specific examples. So just that somehow there's not enough Hispanic residents in your neighborhood. So definitely it was like collective racism or something. Let's go to part number 2 of their plan. This is devious stuff, folks. Part number 2. They're going to close down suburban growth by regulating development, restricting automobile use, and limiting highway growth and repair, forcing would-be suburbanites back to the city. What did I tell you? You know those road grants, Joe? Again, let's see the racial makeup of your neighborhood. We don't like that. Definitely not enough Hispanic residents. By the way, we have 3 Hispanic residents in my own house, but that doesn't matter. It's never going to be enough, I promise you. Mm-hmm. They're going to say, you know that highway grant you need for I-95 running through your county, which does happen to run through the county I live in, by the way. Yeah, no good. No good, not going to happen. What do you mean? It's your highway. You got to fix it. No, we're not, no dice. We don't like the racial makeup of your neighborhood. Or wait, are you alleging somebody didn't sell a home to someone because of race? No, we're not saying we can't prove any of that. We're just saying we don't like how your neighborhood looks. Oh, okay. That sounds racist in and of itself. Of course, soft bigotry is the left's thing. Sometimes hard bigotry outright. Let's go to part 3 of the Biden-Booker platform. So basically shut down the suburbs, call you all racists. What's part 3 again? Use state and federal laws to force suburbs to redistribute their tax revenue to poorer cities in their greater metropolitan area. Isn't that special? So you work your entire life to get away from liberal cities that are confiscating your income, really hurting your wallet, crushing your business with regulations. You finally save up enough to get out of those liberal cities to move into the suburbs. And now they're working on economic annexation plans to redistribute money from the suburbs back into the city you tried to get away from. Totally fair, right? Of course not. They don't care. It's called affirmatively furthering fair housing. You better ask every one of your legislators at the federal level, your congressman, your senator, hey, where do you stand on this? Because this is coming.
You just heard Dan Bongino.